YouTube channel.
Whoop, whoop, you're welcome back.
Yes, my name is Taking B Teaser.
And I'm Faith Teaser.
And together
we are the Teasers.
So we're the Teasers and you're welcome to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about something, as always, we talk about exciting stuff,
Yes.
interesting stuff, and of course, beneficial stuff.
Exactly, it's very important.
Exactly. So today we're talking about the things or discussions to have
Before you say
I do.
yes.
Before
And
you get married.
before we proceed, if you're new here, you're welcome. And if you are an oldie, thank you for coming. But please make sure you subscribe,
Yep.
hit the like button,
Yep.
share
Yep.
before you even watch.
Yep.
Because you are faking us.
Exactly.
Alright,
like,
so
share,
let's
subscribe,
get
as you said.
right into it.
So things to talk about. You see, it's important to have certain conversations before you guys begin to plan or get serious with marriage. So if you're dating now or you're courting, or even those in marriage, you know, that have not had these kinds of conversations.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important to have these conversations, things to talk about, things to know. And it's advantageous to your relationship because you will know what you're getting into. You will know the things to do before you get married, while you get married, and no expectations to have.
Yes.
So we'll go straight into the conversation for today.
Number one
thing you should do, or discussion you should have,
to have.
you know, before you get married is what your expectation of the marriage is.
Yep, marriage expectations.
You see, a lot of people have, from my experience, I know that people have, from experience from talking to people now, I mean, not my personal experience, people have expectations that vary at different levels. There is no one way and one type of marriage for everybody.
That's true.
Obviously, because we're all different in characters. What makes us unique is our difference. So, because of those differences, what is good to John may be bad to Paul, and what is bad for Peter may be what Paul likes. You get so essentially, you guys need to talk about your expectations for the relationship and the marriage. Now, it can be as simple as it has to be a caring, a loving home. Everybody's, you know, I want a peaceful home. That we are homely people. We don't go out often. We don't, you know,
stay at home.
Or we are career people.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys need to iron those things out. Can I tell you something? As important as that conversation is, there are conversations as crazy as talking about the kind of love people want. Let me explain what I mean.
Yeah, that's true.
There are some ladies that don't believe, and I'm not kidding. There are some ladies that don't believe you love them if you are not beating them.
Yes, that's very true.
They don't, if you are not beating the girl, or you are not angry at her, you know, or you are not vexing,
a violent lover.
They don't believe. You know, some people also get into marriage because they're looking for security.
Yeah.
You know, so those things have to be discussed. They have to be outlined.
Some people are looking for completion in marriage.
Yes.
And so they assume that, when I get married, I'm suddenly going to feel complete.
Yes.
So you have to discuss
You
and
have
say,
to
I
know.
cannot make you complete.
Guy, before you get married and then somebody's having expectations of you,
Yes.
and you guys are fighting for no reason.
Exactly.
So these are the discussions to have. It also help you know the person's perspective towards marriage, what the person sees marriage as. Some men see marriage as an avenue to satisfy their sexual urge.
That's
so when they get married and you're trying to do balanced diet for sex,
Say that balanced diet.
as per yeah, eating
One day off,
healthy.
one day on. It's a healthy meal.
What the guy envisioned was different, so you need to have those conversations.
That's true.
And you know, outline those things, those expectations. Some people think that the wife is supposed to, you know, be the home caretaker, and then the man is supposed to be the hustler. And for you, you grew up knowing that both father and mom can work and get things done together and home things done. Or someone grew up knowing that the mother went out to do stuff and the father. Listen, it happens here in Nigeria, especially if you're watching us from Nigeria, where fathers sit at home and the mothers go to work.
Yep.
Don't be deceived. It's not everybody that has the Afrocentric, that Afro-traditional mentality where the man goes out to hunt and the wife. No, some homes actually works, you know, vice versa. And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's just agreement. So there are things, those are some of the things you guys may need to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. And another discussion that you really need to have before you say I do is family and medical history.
Yes.
You see, many times, many people have gone into problems that they really cannot or could not deal with because they didn't find out what's your history like.
Yes.
What happens in your family. I'll tell you a personal story. My auntie, my dad's younger sister, got married. My dad's younger sister, long time ago, years ago. and she's AS and her husband AS, and you know, I think at that time checking those things were not so common. And so they got married and they had 2 children. Both children were SS. And then my cousin died, the girl. Then her brother died, and after that the marriage dissolved, and right now they are not together, because somehow it's as if they could not come out of that loss. Because they were feeling like, oh, we're the ones that made our children like this. And so the whole marriage dissolved, and today she's alone and the guy is somewhere else too. So those things actually affect marriages. Sometimes some people have dealt with things before that they feel like, I cannot deal with this thing again, so I need to know, what am I getting into? Oh, what about our children? What's the possibility that they may pick up this thing? Oh, is it hereditary? Is it genetic? Is it going to pass down or something? So it's important for you guys to actually have the conversation, especially for health matters. They are too important for you to neglect. It's important for you to have those discussions. So
and as important and serious as sickle cell can be, there are some conversations, people say yes, no, we'll talk about that, marriage counseling, they'll tell us that, but there are some other health challenges that people push under the rug. For instance, if the family is known to have high blood pressure, they have diabetes and all those things, cancer. It will help for you guys to know the kind of nutritional plan because some homes, imagine now, I'm from Benue State, I love to eat meat a lot, and if my wife, of course she doesn't, but if she had a health condition that did not need her to be doing that, guess what? When we get married, I can't understand why we have to do that way. Let me tell you something again. One of the things knowing or planning, about those health, knowing about having that health conversation is this. You guys know what you are going into. You know what is ahead of you. You know what you are prepared for. You should be prepared for, rather. If both of them, now the example she gave, they knew about sickle cell, they knew about the children, they would have known how to manage it. Because children that are managed well have managed to live longer.
That's true.
So you will know what to prepare for. You know what you're going to be up against. You know what you would actually know what you are going to deal with in future.
That's true.
So it will arm you guys better, because you don't want something to now weigh you down in the middle of your marriage.
Exactly. And sometimes you also consider the children you're going to have, their innocence, they don't know anything. So sometimes I think one of the wisest things to do is to just say, okay, if we're not going to work together perfectly, we're not health-wise compatible, then let's just stay away for the sake of those children we're going to have, and put them under unnecessary pressure. Like one guy we met in a restaurant one day, he said AA is his spec because he's AS, and so he doesn't even want to take chances. He's like, AA is his spec. So
that's a wise thing to do.
Exactly. My friend too is AS, and like from the very first time, once you guys have a conversation, once you are AS, like she's not even going to, because her brother suffered a lot. So she said she doesn't want to have that. So it's just important.
And that's just
saves you a lot of trouble.
Those are just a few things, few examples, because there are worse scenarios and there are less terrible scenarios, but it can frustrate or put a strain on your relationship. And then, of course, one of the other things you can talk about or need to talk about, and don't take this for granted, is the person's view on divorce.
Very important.
You see, when people see that marriage, or have the opinion that marriage is something they can jump in and out of, I tell you, and I kid you not, they would jump out of any marriage for any and just any reason.
That's true.
There's no problem, of course, if somebody wants to leave you for any reason. I mean, now of course, as Christians, as believers, divorce is not even an option. The truth of gospel is divorce is not an option. However, you can get divorced, but it shouldn't get to that. But for flimsy reasons, like the people of in the days of Moses, they can divorce for any reason. People these days are going back to that attitude. So you may want to know. Why do you want to know? Of course, because listen, you want to know the person's mindset about marriage, and know the person's threshold. Are you planning to suffer them or stress them? No, you just know that life comes with ups and downs.
Exactly.
So you don't want someone that will not be there with you through the thick and the thin.
Exactly.
You don't want someone that will eventually or suddenly get bored, because there are days where things may not be as rosy and as tantalizing, because marriage involves work. You do this, stimulates the romance and everything, But if eventually those days don't come, will the person now walk away, or the person want to put in the effort? Because it will also reveal if the person is interested in putting in effort, or the person just wants to, look for a safe, a
an
convenient
easy
place
way
to
out.
stay. And then of course, knowing this will now help you guys be able to deal with your differences in doctrines and perspectives.
That's very true.
Before you get married, why should you wait till you get married then you start to deal with it?
Yes. And another thing that you need to discuss is your visions and your goals, like personal visions and goals.
Very
I remember
important.
that the day my husband asked me out, we scheduled a meeting. It's not so formal like that, but we scheduled a meeting, came over to my house in the evening, and we spoke. And I think from that day, that was the day we spoke about our personal dreams, our personal visions, the plans for our lives, what we felt like God, what we knew God had called us to do. Because though it is in those areas you actually know if you are compatible. You cannot have somebody's vision going to the east and another person's vision going to the north.
That's true.
How are you guys going to work together? So it's important for you to know if God is calling this person to do this thing, what is my part to play in supporting this person's vision? So you don't only just support, but you are involved, you participate in making sure that that vision is a reality. So if you know that you are not going to be able to, let me give you a perfect example.
Go deeper, mama.
Okay, let me give you a perfect example.
Okay.
Being a pastor's wife takes a lot of work. Many people run away from it because they know that, okay, it's a lot of work. But many people embrace it because they want the glam life. They want to be called mama in church. But sometimes it's not just about being called mama in church. It's a lot of work. So if the person says, okay, I want to be a pastor, the Lord has called me to be a pastor, you need to ask yourself, am I fit to be a pastor's wife? Can I be a pastor's wife? Can I support him? Am I going to be there for him when he has to travel for ministrations and I'm alone in the house managing the home front, managing work, managing the church? There are a lot of things to consider. If you want to be married to, for example, an architect, architects travel. If you want to be married, if the person is a military man, can you cope with the changes every time? He's moving from one state to another, and then you are there, you're complaining, it's not always with me, my love language is quality time, and stuff like that. It's understood, you can walk through it. But then, if you cannot, don't force it to happen. If your plans for your life, the visions you have, the dreams you have for your life and his life, or his life, your life and her life, and not working together, don't start it, because you're going to have a lot of problem years from now.
That's true.
It's not just about the times when it is rosy. Marriage is the true essence of marriage, and the truth about the state of your heart in marriage is how you react when the times are not so rosy. So when it gets unrosy, what's your reaction to life going to be? Are you going to just want to opt out, or you're going to have problems? So it's important for you to actually know, where is life taking us? Can we work together in this thing that God has given us to do? So it's very important.
Yeah, very important. Things to consider.
Yep.
Another conversation to have amongst many, and I must say this, that these are not the only conversations to have, but these ones are very important. Another one that you should have, of course you guys should have, is the family responsibility. Let me explain.
Very true.
There are people who you meet and you may not know and understand, but they have you say, the guy is stingy, or the girl is stingy, or she hides her money, or she hoards her money. But you see, some people are responsible for their families.
That's true.
So you need to know, and to accept or reject the idea of continuing with the burden. So you don't get married and then you now sit like, what's this? Why am I sharing with your family, etc.? So it's something you should discuss. Is there anybody relying on you? Are your siblings relying on you to pay school fees, to send pocket money? Your finances, who participates of it? Your time in the family, who participates of it? Do your family have a culture of having people come to stay around in the house, or everybody's comfortable and doing fine on their own? Because some families, it's not even about how well they are doing, whether they are rich or poor. Most families, no matter whether the person is rich or poor, they just have the culture of people coming to stay in their families, and you may not buy the idea. Like, okay, they say, okay, this year, this summer time, our kids will come and spend holiday with you, or this summer time we will come to, those kinds of things. So you need to know if this is how it works in your house, or so that we know what we're going to deal with. Because you see, there are some people that, okay, Take for instance, a guy can just think that it's just a normal thing for you to cook for a large crowd of people. I'm talking of a guy now today.
It's very true.
And then you have never done that.
That's true.
Then you start seeing that, oh, the guy is trying to enslave me and all that.
That's true.
But if you already know that this is the culture of the home, this is the culture of our home, this is the culture of my family you're coming to, and mind you, even though you guys are getting married to create separate families, the families of your spouse are important in your family.
They're never just.
We can't just rule out. You can't just rule it and say, no, we are separate family.
That's
no,
true.
It's stupidity to do that.
Exactly.
You can't cut yourself from your roots. That's your root.
Exactly.
You understand? You're still connected to them by blood.
Yes.
You know, so you will still, there's still that need to be in touch. You know, now are we saying that the touch should be overly over the top? No, we're saying that you should put a control to it, but you should talk about it. We should know, and to help you, which is the next point, to now set boundaries, which of course is an important conversation to have.
Very important to have that conversation. Boundaries are very important, and I've realized over time that most times the reason why people have issues with boundaries is not because they don't actually have the boundaries. I can have a boundary, my husband can have a boundary, but the issue is how far this person sets and how close this person sets.
Yeah.
So we might have boundaries, but then maybe my husband is more lenient and I'm not so lenient. Doesn't mean we don't have boundaries, but the difference is how far apart the boundaries are.
Yeah.
So the solution is finding a way to meet in the middle of those boundaries.
Yeah.
So for example now, let's say you're getting married and your husband or your wife has a lot of siblings. Let me use this as an example. You can decide and say, you know what, for our marriage and what we have experienced, what I have personally experienced or the guy has personally experienced or something, I don't want us to have visitors too many times in the house. And so we agree, okay, this is how long a visitor can stay in the house. This is how often a visitor can come. This is how our mother should come to the house, our parents, our siblings. It's very important. This is how many times I want you to go out with your friends in a week. It's not that you are controlling them, but it's for the sanity of your marriage.
Yeah.
It's important for you to set boundaries for the sanity of your marriage. It's also important it builds trust in a marriage. I'm telling you, you may not understand, but it actually builds trust in a marriage. So for example, my husband and I had experiences about how people used to come and stay in our houses when we were much younger. And for me personally, I felt a certain type of way because a lot of issues, sprang up. Obviously, when you have different people, you have issues in the house.
Yeah.
And my husband had the same experience. And so when we spoke about it, we realized that we actually had the same views. And so we decided that, it's not that we're saying nobody should come to our house. People actually come to our house. We even call and say, Alpha, we have not seen you. Are you not coming? Come and do weekend for us. Or something like that. Yes. But then we decided, okay, this is how often we want people to come and stay in the house. This is how long we want them to come and stay in the house, because it is very important. Remember that especially for the beginning years of your marriage, the first 3 years, the first 5 years, it is the formative part of your marriage. So you have to do all it takes to make sure that whatever should be kept far is kept far, and whatever should be brought close is brought close. That's why it's important for you to set boundaries. So it is very important for you to always set boundaries in your relationship. It will go a long way in saving you guys from stress, fighting here, fighting there. It's going to be very helpful for you to know what boundaries to set in a relationship and meet halfway.
And speaking of fighting and quarreling and all that, another important conversation to have is, and you shouldn't wait till you get married. I think a number of couples have reached out to us, and I think that's a wise thing they did.
Yeah.
You should get people that you see as mentors or counselors for accountability. Let me explain more. You see, first, you're having that conversation because you want to understand the person's perspective on having people you are accountable to, and then it will help you guys to build relationships with those people before you get married, so that it will not come off as strange when you people need their help. What do we mean? In the event where there is a need for a third party, you know who should call. Yeah. You know who should be involved. There should be no form of bias. There should not be any form of preference or favoritism. It should be someone who can stand and be objective, transparent as possible between both of you. Someone who, listening to both opinions, will give an objective counsel. Someone who both of you can sit down and say, you know what, let's go and meet this person. Whatever the person says, then we'll agree that it's correct. Yeah. It's more like the person's word is the Alpha and Omega, and of course, you will now trust someone who is of the same faith with you.
Yes, very important.
Someone who believes in you and has the same. Listen, well, if you're already attending a church, your pastor is number one person.
Yeah.
However, if your pastor, for instance, now is too far to reach,
yes.
certain ministries are really large, or you don't have someone in close proximity, a spiritual leader in close proximity to you, or you don't really trust your spiritual leader. There are plenty of people I've met that don't, and I don't know why you submit yourself to someone you don't trust. Well, if you don't trust your spiritual leader, then you can find someone you trust, someone you think has experience. Now, it's not just about trust, but someone you think is skilled to give counsel, because even your senior pastor, yes, may be filled with Holy Ghost, but may not have wisdom in that area. He may not have wisdom in that area.
Someone that has wisdom oozing out.
Yeah, some people can emphasize certain things, and may not be strong in it, and that's course true. I've met some pastors who, when someone has a relationship problem, they will call members of the church who are strong, especially older people who have wisdom, knowledge, and experience in relationship and marriage, and tell them, this couple, they're going through this thing. What do you guys counsel? Because yes, we thank the Lord for the wisdom of the Spirit of God, but then there are people who, if they just wake up, they can give counsel for relationship, like us. From sleep, if you just open eyes and say the problem, the Lord will speak. That's why you have to subscribe to this channel.
Oh my God, yes, to get wisdom.
Wisdom on point. That's our only problem.
Ah! Oh my God, oh my shit.
I know.
Have you finished feeling yourself?
Yeah, I finished, but I'm feeling what I'm saying. I was not feeling myself.
Alright, so another conversation you need to have before you say I do. Sounds trivial, but it's very important. Number of children to have. Look, I've heard a story of someone that, in fact, he's so angry at the wife because he feels like the wife cheated him and didn't give him the number of children he wanted to have. So, children are a blessing. Children are a gift. And in as much as, we have people that say, oh, you cannot, limit the blessing of God, just give birth like that. We thank God that we're more mature and we have more knowledge now, and we understand the importance of planning. And so discussing about this before marriage is part of family planning. You plan the way you want your marriage to be. When you look into the future with the eyes of the Spirit, 10 years, 5 years from the time you guys are discussing, how do you see your family to be? With how many children? For my husband and I think my husband had one long number like that. Me, I had a shorter number.
Let's not be saying things that don't matter. Which long number? Say what I said. Let people not be thinking.
He wanted 4 children.
So that I just let her say it before you be thinking I'm thinking of 2 raising super egos.
I had a shorter number, and so when we discussed and we spoke about everything, we went back and forth. We finally agreed, and through by the wisdom of the Lord.
Did we agree on that? I finally settled. We did agree. I finally gave up.
He came to my my level. And sometimes you have to do that. You come to the other person's level.
It's the wisdom of God.
It's the wisdom of God. And because I was seeing in the realm of the Spirit.
I don't give spirit for this thing. If you bomb more than the number, you explain what happened.
I said the Spirit of the Lord corrected me. But for the work that we're doing, we realized that the number of children we now agreed to have fits the work we're doing. And so it's different for everybody. My elder sisters are married, and like everybody, the highest number they stopped at was 3, until one of my sister came with the bang just dropped number 4, and everyone was like, oh my god. But that's her family.
And
her
it can
husband
be you.
loves...
Who knows? Oh my god. You can break this thing.
I cannot. I shall not.
You are anointed, or you break the yoke.
Please, let's stop joking. Please don't be putting things like this on me. I should shift from you.
Please continue. People are listening.
And so, You just need to agree on the number of children to have. It will help you. It will even help you to plan your resources. So you know that, okay, these are the number of children that, we're going to take care of. What kind of school can we afford to put both of them? Or what kind of things can we afford to give both of them? So it's very important to plan the number of children that you have.
Oh, yes. And then finally, the most important conversation to have is the conversation on money.
Money.
Finance. People keep a lot of things secret about when it comes to money, but it's important to talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about if you must not disclose how much you earn, at least disclose or talk about how you will handle finances.
Yep.
Plan for it. Don't wait till you get married and say, okay,
who is taking this financial responsibility?
Yeah, how will we do this? Plan for it. See, talking about your financial positions help you guys to make plans even for your children, for your immediate family,
for the standard of living you want to have.
Yes, sometimes people don't plan for these things. So when they get married, they just start giving birth to children, and children are suffering.
Oh my God.
We are just dropping children. But you think that we're doing primary 1 to primary 2. It's not like competition
and
to scale to the next level.
Nobody gives prize for first to do.
Yes, so you need to plan everything. You need to be deliberate about, your finance.
Yes.
Savings culture.
Yeah. Budgeting.
Yes.
How do you spend the money?
How do you spend the money?
Yeah.
What investments you guys want to engage in together?
Yes.
Primarily, most of the things we advocate for is the togetherness of the spouse.
Yeah.
However, now we do almost everything, if not all together.
Yeah.
Not all, but most things together. And it has helped our relationship. Just yesterday, we're looking at going through some of the, we found a folder of some of the old pictures we took in 2016, early 2017, 2018, and it was amazing that we had that number of pictures together.
We're always together.
It's like we're always together, not just together, we're always doing everything
doing
together.
Stuff together.
You see us in church, you see us in
if
it's party we're going forward, if we are going to
family
everything, and we're together, and building that culture of togetherness helped us to grow in love more and want to see the betterment of our relationship. So we see ourselves as a unit, not as individuals doing things on their own.
As a unit.
So
that's awesome.
Planning of finance, we won't talk much about money because I know that subject is very dicey, but plan about it, talk about it. Agree on the things you want to do and who is doing what and who isn't doing what, and whose money is what and whose money is not what. You don't get married and say no, the husband's money is for the house, the wife's money is for the wife.
No, don't do that. A win for one is a win for all.
Yeah.
So when anybody comes to your house, nobody's gonna be saying, "Oh, it's the wife that bought these chairs." No, the house and their chairs are beautiful. It's a joint achievement.
The house and their chairs.
The chairs in their house.
Look, I thought I didn't hear.
People don't see that there's no invention that they start to build houses.
So that's how that's how.
Don't say that thing you want to say.
That's how the turtle is formed.
It's what's in of this. He has been
It's
saying this like
two-faced,
since when we met. Evolve, man of God.
What's that? I'm consistent.
Consistency.
Man of the spirit was consistent. The Lord is the same yesterday.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
And as He is who I am.
Alright, guys.
So anyways, thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
We know that you guys enjoyed this session.
Yes. And in the spirit of everybody posting pre-wedding pictures all of a sudden, post to your friends, send this video to your friends about to get married, to help them from making mistakes or entering into error subsequently. And subscribe, like, give us a thumbs up. It really helps our videos. So give us a thumbs up, send your comments, drop your comments, and I'll be sure to reply them. So thank you very much for watching and for being with us today. What else, baby?
Just tell everybody.
Tell everybody.
Thank you guys. See you later.
See you.